Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and it's the girls today. Hello, Coy Malone. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Sybil. Thanks for asking. Hey, Yolanda, how are you?
Hey,
How are
Coy.
you, Sybil?
I'm happy to be on with you, Coy.
Yay.
Yolanda Starks White is president of the Coy Malone fan club.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. If there's nobody else, uh, that she's a fan of. It is definitely you. Welcome in, everybody. We're going to be talking about Coy's story, which is an ongoing saga, unfortunately, about people who are mistakenly, let's just put it that way for right now, mistakenly buried in penal grave sites. And in this case, in Jackson, Mississippi. And Coy is going to be talking about that not only in her story, and we're going to hold off on talking about that a little bit, Coy, so that when your guest comes on, we kind of flesh the story out. But how is everybody? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I believe I had a good
Wow.
weekend.
We
You
had a
believe
weekend?
Yes, it was a
you
good
believe
weekend.
you believe you had a good weekend? Are you? So does that mean you're certain of that?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And yes, Yolanda, we did have a weekend.
Sybil, I'm not being dramatic. I really have no recall of my week. What does that mean?
Well, let's see. Last night you had dinner from Luby's, brought to you by. Uh, Saturday, we went to lunch.
Yes, we did. Okay. Yes. Oh, that was great.
Was
And Friday, we had a great lunch. Oh, I
I,
had a great
I was
weekend.
just working back.
Yeah. Oh,
Starting
I had a
with
great weekend.
yeah.
Decoy, I am really not that much of a social person. I really don't like socializing. Like, I am so comfortable at home in my bed watching TV, and I don't ever have to go anywhere. Don't nobody have to ever come, and I'm really, really happy. And so Sybil does a great job of keeping me out and keeping me social. But Coy, this is the funny part about it. Whenever
Once she gets out, she don't want to leave.
she
And I'm like, hey, Miss Non-Social Butterfly.
every time, Coy, every time she's like, "You got stuff to do. What are you doing?" Every single time. I don't know what that's about.
And my new favorite term now is we're chasing daylight, meaning we're running out of time. And she really is chasing daylight because at a certain time they got to walk the dogs before it gets dark.
Yeah.
And so Friday, we're out with some really lovely friends of ours that used to come to the yoga studio. And hello to First Lady Pace and to Miss Shirley Wilson Fuller. And so I had made the arrangements and I invited Yolanda to come along. And so she's, kind of dragging her feet. She's la la la, she's at the hair goods store, she's at the post office, she's getting her feet done, she's getting her eyes did, all of these things she's doing in order to, delay having some fun.
That's
And
not true, Sybil. That is not true.
Stalling.
I think she had a tooth extracted. Um, uh,
You're so
and,
wrong.
and one that didn't need to come out. She was, oh, just do it while you're in there. Just pull it while you're in there.
You're so
Uh,
wrong.
but we had a really lovely time, and there are some wonderful women that I just love the fellowship and the sisterhood with them. And so we've been trying to get together for a while, and so I was like, just come, Yolanda, and I kept giving her an out because every moment, I was like, you want to come, or if you don't want to come, just tell me. And she's like, oh no, why are you saying this? Why
And
are you
finally, I say, "Hey, hey, 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 hey! Do you really not want me to come, and you want me to say no? Because you keep asking me the same thing."
And it was that voice that made me say, no, I don't want you to come. Well, I'm coming anyway, I think is what she said.
He's silly.
So you went outside and had the time of your life.
I
She went, she
did.
stepped out of her bedroom, out of her bed clothes, into adult clothing, into a car that is a beautiful car she just doesn't like to drive. All of these things, all of these impediments, and she came and had the time of her life and talked more than all three of us put together.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
not necessary. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? How about
Well, I
them?
have no idea what that means. That's just the way to change the subject.
Right, it is. I don't
And
know
she
if they're
does a
that
fine
happy these
job of
days.
that
And the
too.
Cowboys are always doing something. So
Well, they're in the playoffs, if
I
that means
know
anything
that
to
I
you.
do know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they caused a really fine coach to lose his job at Washington. Ron Rivera is the head coach of the Washington Commanders, and he got fired. So
Because they lost last night, he got fired.
no, they've been losing all season. But I just thought I'd add
Oh,
that because I'm not a
oh.
Cowboys fan. I'm more of a Dak Prescott fan, and I hope that they
Was
do.
he a black man?
He's Hispanic, Ron
Okay.
Rivera.
Okay.
Hispanic.
Oh, how long was he the head coach?
He's been there for quite a while, quite a few years, and had been through the horrible owner, and kept the team together, and did his best with what he was given. But the new owner said, we've seen enough, and so he's gone. So to get back to this, so like I'm looking at my watch, and she's la 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 la. Oh, it's so much fun. Oh, you all are so bright. You're so wise. You're so she's going on, and she's feeding them up, and they're blowing up. And like, okay, little girl. So I was like, I hate to really call this to an end, but Yolanda's got to go walk the dogs. You,
With her little simple life.
and so then it's the long goodbye, all of this. So we depart, and she's like, why don't we do this more often? Why?
Because you don't want to leave your room.
Right,
That's the answer, Coy.
Everybody
Because you
else
don't want to. Because you're antisocial in your head. But once you get out, you can dance, you can play cards, you can play dominoes, you can be sociable. You have it all in you. I don't have that. But she does.
But you're great with the kids.
But so that was Saturday, going out with sweet baby True, who is now 17 years old. We haven't seen her since she was a year and a half because
wow.
Yolanda doesn't want to go out.
You're so wrong.
Child done
And
grew up on
I
you.
love this little girl. I call her sweet baby True, and I love her mother Justice.
Sybil, I saw the post you put on social media. Can you do that? Did you ask her mother if you could put that on there?
Well, she puts her on every day.
Okay.
I had to ask permission to get into her mama's IG. And when I saw it, I was like, well, damn, True is already a star. I might as well get in on the stardom.
Oh, okay.
I posted some video I took of her. But she's so alive. And so that was a great day on Saturday. So we had 2 really good days.
Yeah, it was good.
And Sunday she rested.
Yes. Yes.
And allowed me to bring her dinner from Luby. So that was our weekend.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And Coy, did you do anything fun?
I did. I got to visit temple number 19 from the Moorish Science Temple. This actually tonight they're celebrating the birthday of Noble Drew Ali. And I believe how old would he have been now?
You should write about
I would say
that.
in his 80s or so. Yeah. And so a lot of temples across the US are celebrating his birthday. There were a lot of events over the weekend. So Friday, I got to attend temple number 19 and their event. I usually attend temple number 33 when I have time on Friday evenings. And we just got to get together and fellowship. We talked a lot about our community. In the Moorish Science Temple, they don't call us Black because they say Black is like the words be and lack together. So we call ourselves Moorish Americans because we have migrated from the continent of Africa to America. So we're also American. So we claim that as well. And we talked about how we can come together as a community and build through business, through education, how children are very important, how our men should protect our women. And if our women are left unprotected, then we're left with gaps and holes. And that's how our system and our people can be broken down if our women aren't protected, because we are, the ones that do create and give forth life. So we should also be protected, but our men should also be protected as well, because they are the ones who are the protectors and providers. And it's just a great wealth of information.
I would
There's
like
so
to
much that I could
write
share
about
with
that
that.
at some point and to share your background as well as the information that you've just given. I'd like you to have that as a story within the newsletter one day.
Well, you see why I'm such a big fan? Because Coy is about that life. She's not just finding some stories and writing about it. She's that life. Because I don't even know what temple number 19 means. What does that mean?
That's just one of the various temples in the Moorish science belief system. So it is a Muslim-based belief system. However, this one, the principles are love, truth, justice, freedom, and peace. So if you're not about those 5 things, and if you're out here causing a ruckus and things like that, they will dissociate from you. So yeah.
That's beautiful. All right.
And have you been a part of this all your life?
I've been a part of it for a lot of my life. I started studying around 2006, and then I lost touch with a lot of people around 2009, 2010, just because there were a lot of people who used to gather downtown Atlanta, and then like a lot of the laws changed. So you had to get permits to sell like artwork or books or things like that. That's where a lot of them used to gather. So people got spread out. I changed careers. I moved back and forth to New York. I moved to Miami. I was doing a lot of moving. So I recently got back in association with them last April.
I would really like to see that in the newsletter.
I'm interested too.
And just to give people an interesting bird's eye view of the life that you have gathered and have reacquainted yourself with. And then that's the kind of things we like to see that affect Black people not Black people. What do we call ourselves?
Moorish Americans.
Moorish Americans, even if we're not Moorish. Americans of color would like to learn more about this, I'm sure. And
yes.
And so that is the kind of thing that we talk about in the What You Need to Know newsletter. And today I'm talking about the conversation between President Obama and President Biden at the White House, and talking about the fact that they have a series of private lunches, and this one was held last month in the White House. And the former president, expressed to the current president his concern about Donald Trump and what his return to the White House would mean if President Biden should lose this presidential election. And so he gave him some suggestions and things like this. But and also there was a conversation about the Obamas being more involved in this 2024 election cycle. And so that's good news for a lot of people. And what I said is why you need to know is because the Obamas bring the kind of energy that is sorely lacking. And it's not that President Biden doesn't want to do good for African Americans. It's not that he doesn't want to bring about an appreciation and a fight for the soul of America. It's just that the Obamas bring with them, it's not even a cachet. They bring with them the energy and the love for their people that we need to see and feel more of. And
we're more open to them.
No, that's true. That's true. And in a lot of cases, God bless him, but President Biden couldn't walk into Fat Mike's barbershop in Detroit and say, I just happen to have been to Fat Mike's barbershop in Detroit once upon a time. But you just can't walk in and say, just a little off the back, fellas, because they were like, no, you need an edge up, Mr. President, and President Obama could take that. President Biden might not understand that. So they just bring something that.
So you think
lacking.
Them participating more will get people more fired up?
I hope so. They're certainly doing their part. The Bidens, President Biden is going to be in Dallas tonight for the memorial service for the late Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. He was in South Carolina today at the Mother Emanuel AME Church, where 9 Black church members were shot and 8 were killed back in 2015. And Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be in Atlanta tomorrow. So it's not for a lack of trying. They're getting out there, and we're going to get them to come on here and to talk to folks as well. But also to not give people an opportunity to say, well, we didn't know. No, we're going to let you know and what they're doing. In addition to paying off $1 gazillion in student loans And,
So do you, Sybil, that's interesting. Do you know people are still saying that they are holding it against President Biden for the student loan? Well, I know a number of people
right.
who got their student loan canceled.
And we're not talking about it. I'm in a text chain. It's like, you're not gonna believe this. Look what I got today. And their balance had been zeroed out. And then, somebody kind of sighed, well, yeah, I was one of those that got mine paid too. Like, shout it to the rooftop.
Right. Well, I would.
From the
I had
rooftop.
to pay mine,
Me
but
too.
if I would be, oh my God, I would be on the campaign trail. I would be following them around with the
So, Mr. Biden, if you got some extra, I got some bills that could be paid.
Yeah. Right. Let's
I'm
do an
kidding.
economic relief fund.
And that's what they did during the pandemic too, Coy. And a lot of people took advantage of that, but a lot of people were helped by that. And people with children and all of that. So these are conversations that we're going to continue to have to encourage people to get out and to register and to vote.
What about before you move on right quick?
Mm-hmm.
How active will First Lady Michelle Obama be in this process? Because we really love her.
We really do love her, and I think that as opposed to last time, she's going to, she did do make some appearances, but I think that they're going to impress upon the Obamas as well as the Biden campaign team that people miss her and that we want Michelle. If I can use her first name like that,
Michelle.
yeah,
right,
yeah. If you're not going to run for president, then come on out and let's talk about what this administration has done and what it can continue to do for us within the next 4 years.
Right.
And yeah, I'm a rah for all of that because I think the alternative is scary and it's frightening. And saying that you're going to do away with democracy and be a dictator on the first day does not indicate that you're going to stop being after that first day. Mm-hmm. So is Coy's guest here? No? Okay. All right. So let's move on to the what's really going on segment. And Coy, we're going to devote that to your story. Your guest was going to kind of help us flesh out the story a little bit. But let's talk from your perspective because this is a story that you've been following for months now, and other people are getting involved, as you mentioned, and you saw his picture. Attorney Ben Crump is one of those who is pressing for an investigation into the penal grave where over 200 bodies, 215 to be exact, were found behind the Jackson, Mississippi jail. And he said, we understand that there's problems with water. And now we got problems with people who have died and their bodies not being returned to their families, but or even contacted for them to make the decision what to do with the bodies, but they just like they're nobody and toss them into these mass graves. So Coy started this story months ago, as I said, and now give us an update on this, Coy.
So now we have Reverend Hosea Hines, who's the senior pastor of the Christ Tabernacle Church and the national leader of a New Day Coalition for Equity in Black America, who has joined Attorney Ben Crump in calling for an investigation after 215 bodies were discovered at this penal grave behind the Hinds County, Mississippi jail. So this is in Jackson, Mississippi. And we covered a few of these stories, including in November 2023, 37-year-old Dexter Wade and 40-year-old Mario Terrell Moore, both of whom were buried in the county's penal grave without notice given to their families. In the case of Dexter Wade, he was missing for 5 months after he was struck and killed by an off-duty officer in his patrol car. His mother did file a missing persons report. She canvassed the neighborhood. Police didn't give her any information. And he was discovered later on to have been one of the persons that were buried in the grave. And 40-year-old Moore was a homicide victim who was murdered in February and was discovered by his uncle on a list of homicide victims in October of 2023. And as I mentioned, they were both buried in July of 2023. And there was just a lot of finger pointing. The sheriff's office was blaming the coroner's office. The coroner's office was blaming the sheriff's office. they were saying there wasn't sufficient identification to identify these men, both of whom died a few blocks away from where they resided. The Hinds County Sheriff's Office claimed an oversight occurred when it came down to notifying the family members of Moore and Wade. As of this time, Wade's remains have been recovered and they did have a funeral. Moore's grave was unmarked, and at this time, it's uncertain if his remains were located or recovered. So now there have been 215 more bodies that have been located here. It's not known if all of them are marked or identified. I did come across another story that happened in December of 39-year-old Jonathan David Hankins, who is a white man. His mother reported him missing, I believe, in 2022, and he was missing for over a year. She went to the same police department, reported him missing, asked for information. They didn't notify her of anything. And she discovered this, I want to say in December of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So according to this...
and he was put in this pauper's grave.
He was put in this pauper's grave as well. So according to information that I have now, the 215 men that are buried in this pauper's grave include Black, white, Hispanic, and Native Americans.
And how many?
215. And this is the grave that's behind the jail. So what happens is once it is approved through the coroner's office, and I think there's like another board that approves the burial, they actually have the jail inmates dig the graves and bury these people. That is a part of their labor that they have while they are incarcerated for however long. So we're looking at a story of a lot of cover-ups of missing persons. We don't know who else is buried here, but we do know so far that they are all men and that there are 215. What my concern is, because these people have been out here for so long and they're just buried. I don't know how they're preserving the bodies, if they're even putting them in embalming fluid. If there's any kind of investigation, any evidence at this point has either been destroyed or it has rotted with their bodies. So finding out what happened to these people may be near impossible.
And your guest was a part of the initiative to try to get answers to this as well, right?
Yes. So he was a friend of Dexter Wade, and through our conversations that we did have during yesterday and today, he suspected that a lot of these persons that are in the grave could possibly include people who are in gangs, drug dealers, anybody that could have also been accused of or participants in street crimes and possibly victims of street crimes.
Well, just like the man that was killed by an off-duty police.
He was killed by an off-duty police officer, and then Mario Terrell was actually a homicide victim that was found wrapped in tarp outside of a gas station.
Well, we've talked to the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi before. Perhaps this warrants another conversation with him. The last time we talked to him was about the water situation, and as the Attorney General for the Black community, Ben Crump, says, we've asked enough about the water. What's really going on in Jackson, Mississippi?
Yeah, we're looking at a marginalized community that is mostly Black people, that has a very big lack of resources. The water crisis isn't something new. This has been going on since when I went to school there in the early 2000s. And then you have a gap in education. You have a gap in resources. The violence rate is very high in Jackson. It's very sad to see. So you wonder what's happening with all this money that the government has, or whatever resources that they have. Where is it actually being allocated towards? Because it's not Jackson.
And also that speaks to people's involvement politically in the system in Jackson, where they just had an election and they reelected the Republican governor. But this really speaks to people getting involved, because now they have a whole nother judicial system that the NAACP has come out against, and it's already up and going. Right. And so if you're going to run roughshod over these people, then the people have to stand up, and they have to And I know it's tiring because first it's the water, now it's the paupers' graves, and now it's the judicial system, and then the what and the crime, and you just. But we have to remain vigilant and keep holding these people up as they continue their investigation into making Jackson the capital city that it really is called
Yep,
and
it's
made.
one of the poorest in the state. Mississippi is one of the poorest in the United States, and this is also the place where Medgar Evers
Yep,
was assassinated.
murdered.
And then
Yep.
you have two young men, last name Gibbs and Green, that were murdered on Jackson State University's campus after students did a protest against racism back in the 60s, I believe. And the plaza on Jackson State University's campus is named after them. After apparently, I was told while I went there, these were KKK members that drove through the
So
campus
historically, the
historically.
the violence that's been wreaked upon Black people and people of color is nothing new. But certainly, this is 2024.
So I have a question just for the sake of the conversation. Accountability. The buck stops with who?
Well, that's an interesting question because they have been steadily, the state has been steadily trying to remove the power from the mayor's department and his control. And so I'm not sure who, like if the sheriff's department or the police department, the Hinds County the department, who they answer to. Do they answer to a state control or do they answer to or to a county? Um, I'm not sure how that works, and
Because like
the
what
breakdown is
stood
part
out
of
to
that.
me, like how could the coroner's office be responsible? Why are they even on the list of people who are responsible?
Because apparently they found identification in one of the young men's pocket, and that was supposed to lead to who he lived with in terms of records that they had with the city. And then in the case of Dexter Wade, they had the apparently the wrong number, the wrong address. With Mario Terrell, they had a brother listed that was not his brother. And so they were just saying, well, this person was supposed to call and they were supposed to identify this person, and the information was incorrect. So we tried to go to this house and we knocked on the door. We didn't get an answer. It was just a
So
lot of
who does that?
runaround.
So the coroner's office, they do that's their job to do that?
Apparently, yeah, that was a part of their job to
Oh, okay.
identify that. And then they pass that information off to another branch in the sheriff's office who goes and serves this information to the family, allegedly.
But whose job is it to decide that we are going to bury them wherever they're going to bury? Who decides that?
So there is a board that approves the burials, and it's not just one by one. They approve a number of burials at the same time. So apparently, these men were at the coroner's office for quite some time, a few months after these failed attempts of contacting family and loved ones. Then they round up this number of people and they present it in front of this board, and the board votes when to bury these young men. And in the case of Dexter Wade and Mario Terrell, that happened on July 14th, 2023.
That is bananas. That is bananas. That's a movie.
Yeah,
It
it is,
is.
and it shows small time politics at its worst.
Said that. I'm sorry. That was what?
It's just awful.
It's
Here's what
what?
I found.
Oh my, what is that? Sorry
Oh, you
about
must
that.
have hit the microphone button.
Yeah, I guess so. But that is small town politics at
Oh,
its
small
worst.
town politics at its worst.
It
Wow.
is. It's
Yeah.
horrible. You have this is the same city where there was a black lawyer who was fighting to get his legal rights to practice law reinstated, and he protested literally every year by himself downtown for several years until they reinstated him at the bar because he was fighting for other black people. Same city. This is the same place where we talked about the story Mississippi burning. Same place.
And once
The same
again,
place that arrested a young man from Jackson State's campus, and they accused him of a shooting, and he was not there. And there was video
well, okay.
surveillance
Well,
showing that.
let's talk about this right now, though, because that's going to be your project apparently for a long time to come in bringing justice to Jackson. But as of right now, there are answers that need. There are questions and they need answers regarding how this got to this point. And hopefully, we'll be able to make contact with your person that you wanted to have on the show, and we can continue the discussion with those in Jackson, Mississippi, and then you can spread out and
But
you
no,
know do your
regarding
due
that,
diligence.
Sybil, to stay on that subject, to that point, what happens? And I know we are focused on Mississippi, but does that happen in Georgia? Does it happen in small time Georgia? Does it happen in small time Texas?
And people might be able to tell us that they have it in and I wouldn't be surprised if Coy had that information about small towns in Georgia and having that information. But you often hear about the counties versus the cities versus the state and who has the authority to make these decisions and how Black people primarily get the short end of the stick.
Right.
So it
Right.
just makes you think about all the people that we cover on Black and Missing, all of these posters that we see when we go to stores of these missing men, women, and children. Where are they?
Well,
Yep.
that's part of the conspiracy theories because I have friends that say that their organs are being
Harvested.
harvested.
And that was a horrible thing. I don't know if you remember the young man whose parents found his body rolled up in a gym mat.
Right. That's why. Right. That's what.
And when they did an autopsy, they found newspapers stuffed in his body where his organs should have been.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Janet Ferguson on Facebook, you mean to tell me with all the advanced technology, DNA and all, you can't find the deceased loved ones? No match to anyone. They're not trying hard enough. They don't care. That's bull. And so what if we were to go to them and to say, Janet Ferguson, okay, here's an experienced person in DNA technology. Here's an experienced person uh, in finding the lost and missing, and we're going to come down and we're going to help you find out who these people are and who they belong to.
They'll probably pour soda on the doggone database to prevent that.
But I'm with Janet. I mean, with the technology that we have today,
And that we have, right? That's not only available to them, but we have competent people who probably even discovered a lot of this stuff, know how to find the answers to these questions.
just like that.
Yep.
And that's what Reverend Hines was saying, that exact thing, that we have a super sophisticated system as it relates to telecommunications and IT. So how is it that this amount of mistakes were made?
If I were a comedian, I would say AARP can find them.
Right. Even before their 50th birthday.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or if they owe taxes.
So
they
Coy,
would
let's try to get Reverend Hines and as well, because he is leading the charge locally, and see if we can't get some answers, because people are making great and valid points here. So in order to continue to spread some more light on this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Did I identify him correctly? Was it Reverend?
Yes, Reverend
Okay.
Hines.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if it was Hines County or different. Okay. All right. Cool.
Isn't
All right.
that something?
Yeah. No, right. Let's move to trending topics now. This just came in. A driver was in custody Monday after crashing a vehicle into the exterior gate of the White House complex. Shortly before 6 o'clock, a vehicle collided with the exterior gate on the White House complex, according to a Secret Service spokesman. The driver has been taken into custody, and they are investigating the cause and manner of the collision. Possible traffic implications there. The White House has been upgraded in recent years, including making it taller. In 2021, the National Park Service built a 13-foot fence with wider, stronger posts to try to deter jumpers from climbing over. That doesn't stop the little ones from getting through it. We've seen those stories where little kids have been so thin they've been able to squeeze through the fences. But this just makes me concerned, Yolanda, because we were probably right there last month where this might have taken place as we were waiting in line to get into the White House. So,
well, that intersection, because even when we were there, there was an accident
Right.
where a bus hit a car. So it might just be a whole lot of goings on that
Mhm.
that happens in that area.
Right. Absolutely right. This also happened in our backyard, Yolanda, a possible gas explosion at the Sandman Hotel in downtown Fort Worth. People said that they thought they smelled gas, natural gas, and the explosion occurred shortly thereafter. One person was seriously injured. 11 others, I believe, were treated at the scene or not uh, deep damage done to them. But one person has been hospitalized,
Is
and
this an
this was
active hotel? Because
this,
somebody called me about it and I wasn't familiar with it. Is it an active hotel?
I don't know that it is,
Oh, okay.
but it is also in a downtown area where apartments also exist, and so a lot of people
Right.
are without living situations this evening.
Wow.
Because of the danger that has been escalated as a result of this possible gas explosion.
Wow.
Yeah. Anybody going on a plane anytime soon?
In the spring.
Okay. Um, well, a friend of ours, George Wallace, was on a plane, and I told him, whatever you do, don't book a window seat. And this is after the explosion of the blowout, if you will, in an Alaska Airlines plane. They said a plug covering an unused exit door blew out minutes into the Alaska Airlines flight. Oh, I'm sorry. Our our reporter on the scene, Justice Harkless, says that the hotel is active. It's brand new and just opened. She stayed there 2
Oh,
weekends
wow.
ago.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, so thank you for that, Justice. Um, if you have any information on the Alaska airplane, let us know that as well.
He's silly.
So the plane was going from Portland to Ontario, California. They were just a few minutes into the flight, and they were maybe about 10 to 16,000 feet above ground. And they said that all of a sudden, this section of the plane, not just a window, but it looks like a full door where a
Right.
door uh, was planned to be, um, blew out of the airplane. And luckily, no one was there and no one was injured. Now, one of the interesting things was they said one young person, his clothes were were torn off of his body. Another man lost his phone that was in his hand. The phone blew out of the plane and it was discovered and it was still operable.
Oh, nice.
But what happened was Boeing, when they made these planes, they had this where this was going to be an emergency exit. And apparently, Alaska Airlines said, no, we don't need that, cover it up. And they kind of covered it up, but
Oh
not
my
enough to
gosh.
withstand the pressure of the wind and the traveling and all that that entails. And so they are just now having to explain some things, Boeing, and to their and to their stockholders as well as to the people purchasing their planes. And so now Alaska and United Airlines have had to cancel hundreds of flights
Wow.
because these are their brand new planes that they were going to be using. And they knew that there was a problem. They said, okay, well, we just won't fly these planes over water for right now.
Oh. Mm-mm.
And I
So,
know.
what's your next story?
let me let me tell you about this one guy. He had his phone in his hand. The phone blew out of the space, and and so they were telling people go outside in your backyard, like in the Portland area, and and see, first of all, if you found the door that blew off and other things that people said that they lost during the flight. And sure enough, this guy
Shut
had an
up.
Apple phone. The phone was still working. It was still in airplane mode, and it was still had battery on it, and it was still connected to he. I guess he was trying to figure out what he was going to do about his luggage if if something were to happen to this plane, maybe I don't know. But he was in contact with the luggage department, Alaska Airlines luggage department, and everything was intact when this man went on his walk and he found this guy's phone.
He had an OtterBox, didn't he?
Well, he's a great commercial for OtterBox or for Apple phones for sure.
Okay, Sybil, I'm gonna make a left turn.
Okay.
Just be patient with me. So on New Year's, people shoot guns,
Mm-hmm.
and so when the bullets go up in the air, they got to come down somewhere.
Yep.
But we never hear about. So I've just wondered, how does that work? So
That's really interesting because there's a story in the Dallas-Fort Worth area about a man who was outside in his backyard with his family on New Year's Eve, and they were sitting, they were laughing, they were talking, and listening to music, and he felt a pain in his leg, and he said, and his young niece, was sitting behind him, and he said, but for the grace of God, this went into his lower leg. The bullet went into his lower leg and not into his niece. Somebody in the neighborhood shot, and the bullet came down.
Wow.
I tell people this all the time. I tell them all the time, shoot into the ground. They're like, no, you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to shoot up like this either. Oh goodness. Let's move to the wonderful memorial today that they have put together for the late Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. She died a week ago Sunday, and over today and tomorrow, North Texans are celebrating the life of the former Dallas Congresswoman who was a trailblazer, who was an icon, and who never forgot her constituents in the 30th Congressional District. The events include a wake, a prayer service. President Biden is planning to attend the prayer service tonight, and the casket was taken to Fair Park, where she was memorialized, and people were able to pay their respects. They said she was dressed in her signature black St. John's blazer. Nice. With a red, white, and blue scarf, and the casket was also covered in yellow roses, as in the yellow roses of Texas.
Oh, no.
She spent decades as North Texas' most powerful Democrat, left generational effect on her district, her city, her state, and her country. And everyone who knew and loved and worked with her, including our friend Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who took her place, said that she never lost sight of the people she was there to serve. Her body has been moved to Dallas's Concord Church for the wake and prayer service tonight, and the funeral is scheduled for 10 o'clock tomorrow in Concord, at Concord Church, and Wednesday she'll be buried in Austin at the Texas State Cemetery. And the sad part is that the way in which she died was not the way in which she lived. She was in the hospital for medical procedure, and her family has now filed a lawsuit against the hospital and those who attended her because of the way that they did not tend to her. And so, but hopefully they will bring some closure and some peace to that family, because nobody wants to see their loved one to die like that. But Yolanda, what have we learned here and confirmed?
That you always need an advocate. You always need to have somebody with you when you go to the hospital. Is there more?
No, that's it. That's it. That's
it. You got to be somebody. You have to have somebody that is really going to look out and
ask those questions.
Yeah.
Or I know that they're short-staffed, but give me the stuff. I'll take the blankets. I will clean up the mess.
Right.
If necessary. If you can't do it, allow me to do this for you and for my loved one.
Right. You gotta, that is so important, because if I'm there, I'm sick and I'm emotional.
Right.
You got to have somebody else to advocate for you.
Yep.
And don't just be there, but really advocate.
Yeah, to make sure and put some fire under them. And if he or she is not able to do it, who is?
Right.
Or who's the person that's telling them they don't have to do that? Because I want to talk to them.
And Coy, this isn't just for older people. This is
for younger people too.
Yeah,
I tell people this all the time. And recently there was a conversation on Instagram about people saying, well, you don't have to get married. We've been together for 10 years. We're spiritually married and this and that. And I said, listen, you need to understand this, that if something happens to your loved one and they're in a medical emergency, there is nothing you can say or do.
You
If
don't
you
have
go up
the
there and say,
law.
we're spiritually married, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend, you need to
No,
go
they
ahead and
said
get
that's
married.
my husband, and like,
Right.
no,
You're not
no.
legally right. So
You know
I
what,
have,
Sybil? I need to get a medical power of attorney. We go do that this week.
Okay.
yeah, it's a serious thing. It
That is
happens,
a
and
serious
people
thing.
are left confused and hurt. I've been in a situation with an ex where he had to go to the hospital for a couple of weeks, and there was nothing I could do as a girlfriend at all until his mother flew in from out of town when she could.
That happened on a Hallmark movie too. That's true. That
It's scary, and I tell people all the time, "Oh, we're married by spirit." The hospital
no,
ain't gonna
no,
honor that.
no. The
Wait,
spirit, the
wait,
spirit doesn't
humor
hold up
me.
in court.
Humor me.
I know.
What was the story?
So it was one of the Christmas movies.
You a silly girl.
But if you watch the Hallmark movies, you know I'm telling the truth. I've been
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, as we close out, the college football championship game is tonight between
Yep.
Michigan and Washington. It's in your favorite town, Yolanda. Who you got, Coy?
I'm gonna go for Michigan.
Me too. I'm a Big Ten girl, Northwestern and all. And also the coach of Michigan is a former Chicago Bear quarterback. So um, definitely, I'm definitely going with Michigan. Although, shout out to Lou Calhoun. Her nephew, one of her nephews, is a member of Washington's football team. And she
Oh,
was conflicted a couple of weeks ago when Texas played Washington. And so, because two of her nephews were playing for Texas, one was playing for Washington, and the Washington team prevailed and going to the college football championship. And good luck to all those big Michigan fans like Griff, who is the co-host on Erica Campbell. I don't know if he'll show up for work tomorrow. When I'm
oh
on with
wow.
Erica in the morning, I don't know what condition
The
Griff
game
will
has
be
already
in.
started. It's playing now.
It's on tonight.
It's on tonight. Okay.
On tonight. Yeah. So good luck to you. And if I may prevail upon Ward White, I don't watch NFL football, but I keep up with the things. Ward, please do whatever you can to make sure that Dallas wins next week against Green Bay because Chicago historically hates the Green Bay Packers, and with good reason because of all the other smart ass quarterbacks that they used to have. But this Jordan Love guy apparently he's waited his turn and now he's doing what these others have done and just just run roughshod over Chicago Bears, which I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at, but I still hate the Green Bay Packers. So do what you can, Ward. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Let's move to entertainment, and for the second week, it's not entertaining, but it is about entertainers. Did anybody watch the Golden Globes last night? Coy, did you watch? You
I watched clips
okay? Did
today.
you happen to see? And I haven't seen a lot of people take her to task for her outfit. But Yolanda, let me know if people do make a comment about her. It's a beautiful actress. Her name is Davine Joy Randolph. She was in a movie called The Holdovers that was over the holidays. It was in the theaters, and she won a Golden Globe last night for her acting. She was also in the movie about Dolomite. My name is Dolomite with Eddie Murphy and those guys. She's a beautiful plus size woman, and she had on a strapless dress that was very distracting because all of her girls were perched and for one and it's good she kept her composure because a lot of people were putting down good money which one of the girls was going to escape as a result of this. I don't know if anybody saw this, but it was quite distracting. And Dead School Clothing, her dress scared me because I thought she was going to have a malfunction. Yes, and Mary J on Facebook said I gave her grace. Okay, good for you, because she needed a girlfriend. She needed somebody to say, Ah, okay. AJ Mine plus the fourth on YouTube says, I love that dress. I loved it too. It was a beautiful dress. The color was just beautiful, but it was distracting for me. And so I just wanted to get other people's input because everybody, Myra J and I were texting during this. Body positive. I'm glad no one popped out. Yeah, Michelle Lynn Summerall. I am too. I am too, because that would have been the story. And it was enough of a story that people did not listen to the beauty of her speech. They were so consumed with, watching and seeing how this was all going to, I was going to say fall out, but how this
What
was
is her
all going to
name
turn out.
again?
Davine Joy Randolph. It's
I'm looking
DA
for it.
apostrophe VINE.
Okay.
And there was just a lot of concern about that. Now, as far as other entertainment news is concerned, sad to
She
report.
wasn't gonna pop out of that dress.
I'm with you, Coy. I
Coy,
don't
show the
understand what
picture.
all the hoopla was about.
Oh my gosh.
Show
It's
the
hoopla
picture.
because she has a lot,
And
and
it
every
was
time it's a
a
woman with
lot.
somebody with a lot more, everybody was, oh my God, it's too much. It's too shut up.
I am a woman with a lot. I understand what a lot is. And that was more than a lot.
And it's gonna hold up too.
And
Well,
it did, and
I
it
but
did
it
hold
did.
up.
It did hold up. But
Right.
I was
She's not
scared
even
for
really
her.
like, I'm not. This is fine. She wasn't gonna She was fine. No.
Okay, I know I'm not alone in this, and that's fine
No,
if
you're
I
not.
am, but it was it was it was disconcerting.
Yeah, I've had worse.
You have less too.
Yes.
And you know I don't care.
I know you don't. I know you don't. Um, 2 years after they separated, Lisa Bonet has filed for divorce from Jason Momoa. In her paperwork, she lists their date of separation as October 7th, 2020. So that's 3 years plus ago,
Mm.
which means they've been split up for quite a while. They got married in 2017. She says she wants joint physical and legal custody of their two minor children, and she is not asking for spousal support. And she indicates that Jason won't be asking for money either. I don't think Aquaman would ask for money.
Right.
Um, they may have a prenup in place, and their separate property and assets are agreed between the parties. So they may have already done their due diligence in advance of all of this. And Lisa Bonet, she can pull. Her previous ex husband was Lenny Kravitz, with whom she had a daughter, Zoe Kravitz, and Zoe is now engaged to Channing Tatum, which I think is an interesting pairing there. So I'm sorry that but as my mom used to say, that's why God made erasers. You have one, and you move on to the next one.
I always say congratulations.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Are you? It's now time for our jewel. Are you prepared to read today's jewel?
I am prepared, but I wanted to share something. So over this past week, I have been dealing with some personal, emotional drama in my life. And I have to just keep telling myself not to react, but to be thoughtful and respond.
Mm,
So the other night, I was so upset that I had to do a meditation to just talk myself down and to calm my mind. And so part of my frustration is I want somebody to be who I want them to be.
mm,
And you have to let people be who they are.
Mhm.
Situations are what they are. And so this week is about calming the mind. And so today's is a calm mind helps you to process life as it is rather than how you think it should be. So just be calm because I mean this we hate saying this. It is what it is, but you got to see it as it is and in that just be calm. Just calm your mind because you don't have control of other people's actions. You don't have control over every situation and circumstance that you encounter. But if you're able to work through it with a calm mind.
Yeah.
I had no control over this. So I had to remain calm.
Wait, hold on for a second. I just went through this. Oh, I have had just such a traumatic, and that's where you are.
I wanted to end on a lighter moment because I do understand, and we do have to remain calm and carry on.
You silly.
She has a very good style team, a very good seamstress,
and hopefully tape, double-sided tape.
because it never worked for me.
Or you're not working with what she's working with. Trust and believe.
I had more malfunctions.
Trust and believe. You're not working with what she's working with.
You crack me up.
Okay, Yolanda.
Yes, sweetheart.
Read your jewel again.
Okay. Okay. A calm mind helps you to process life as it is rather than how you think it should be. Be calm.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. And go out there and be calm. You hear that, Coy?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for your contributions. Yolanda, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you all again soon.
Thank you for letting me come on with Coy.
Aloha.
Oh, thanks.